Ladies and gentlemen, very shortly we'll be ready for departure, so all your mobile phones and electronic devices should be switched off. Please make sure your seatbelt is not fastened and do make yourself comfortable. Thank you.
Hey Impact Podcast fans, this is Todd Durkin here. I'm up at 30,000 feet on an Alaska Airlines somewhere between Orlando, Florida and San Diego, California. It's late on a Friday night, Friday the 13th, and I'm flying back home after being in Orlando for just 24 hours. I was here to present at the Perform Better show that was canceled just this morning. And I was pumped up for the show because I was supposed to be presenting on my 20 top lessons in 20 years of business. And of course, because of the coronavirus, that was canceled this morning. And it's amazing how much has happened in just a 24 to 48 hour period with the coronavirus, aka the CV. And when I landed here in Orlando just 24 hours ago, there was talk of the coronavirus, but within hours, all of a sudden, it was March Madness was canceled, and then all of the NBA season, NHL season, pro baseball, spring training pushback, everything was stopped. And as you listen to this now, a week or two from now, times may have changed even more so from right now. And I want to share my thoughts on the coronavirus and some of my introspection here, literally from seat 7A on Alaska Airlines. First off, the best part of my trip was getting the chance to see my 86-year-old mom, Muffy, and getting the chance to have dinner with her, film a podcast together. I don't know if you've listened to that yet or not, but it is a must-listen to podcast. I did that with her. I couldn't wait to do that. And just spending time with her was special. And I think that's the reason why God brought me here on an airplane, literally 5 hours one way and 5 hours the other way, so that I can spend time with Mom. Mom actually has been needle pointing. Get your mind right, needle point signs. She's given me over 20 of these in the last. Well, she gave me 20 today, and she gave me another 5 a few weeks ago, so stay tuned for that. But here are my thoughts on the coronavirus, and a lot of what I'm going to tell you again is the opposite of what everyone else is doing and will do. And I truly believe that desperate times require desperate measures. Well, take these steps, or some of the ones I'm going to share with you today, and I can assure you that you're going to get through these tough times, and you're going to come out the other side in the best shape possible under such tough circumstances. And you've all heard that saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And I don't know if it's ever been more applicable than right now, because it is tough times. And again, I don't even know when you listen to this where we're going to be, but I can promise you this: these things will be as pertinent then as they are right now. Now, my first question I asked you is, and this is something I ask myself all the time: how can I be the opposite of everyone else? How can I be the opposite of everyone else? And to go deeper, my question to you is this: when you look back in, let's say, 1 year from now, how can you say that the coronavirus was the best thing that ever could have happened to me? Let me repeat that. When you look back in 1 year from now, what are you going to have to do in order for you to say, wow, the coronavirus was the best thing that ever could have happened to me? It was the catalyst for me to make the change, or to take the action to do what I always said I wanted to do. So let me share just 5 points. And literally, I've got 5 things on a napkin here. I've got no one sitting next to me, so I can't spill any almonds. Hopefully you've listened to that episode already. But the first one, my first of 5 points, is maybe the most obvious one out of the 5. And it's be smart. Be smart. Continue listening to the CDC, the government, and your local officials about what to do next. They're going to keep us informed of what we should and need to be doing to ensure our safety. I'm not sure what they're telling us right now as you listen in, but we must continue to keep our ears open and abide by that. Of course, cleanliness and hygiene are always important. Washing your hands, keeping your hands away from your face, cleaning surfaces. These are things that we've been doing now for weeks and weeks. And remember, hugs, hip bumps, and smiles are always most welcome. Number 2, don't consume the news more than 1 hour per day. And don't watch the news after 8 p.m. It's toxic to watch the news. Now, I was at my mom's and in watching the news because of the change of events, even for 2 to 3 hours, I felt literally paralyzed from watching that much news. I have made it a rule for me, no more than an hour a day of watching the news. The amount of toxicity, fear, trepidation that the news provides can literally paralyze. Well, it can paralyze a nation, and it can paralyze you. And many times you watch it over and over again, and it does nothing but zap you, your body, your mind, and your spirit of all the energy. It strikes fear in us. So what should you do? What can you do instead of watching the news if you've been watching for 2, 3, 4 hours and you're glued to, am I going to miss anything? Number 3, and this is a biggie, guys. Dial in your habits for physical, psychological, mental, and spiritual growth. What do I mean by that? What I mean by this is perhaps you've been saying for years that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, whatever that is. Well, now is the perfect time to do that because the schools are closed. Many businesses are closed. I mean, heck, for all I know, there'll be a quarantine in this country. Who knows what's going to happen over the next few weeks? But, with all the hysteria and panic that people are under, relax. Take a deep breath. Can you all just take a few deep breaths right now? Think about that. There is opportunity for you to create the change that you've been yearning for years. So maybe again, instead of reading the news when it comes to some of your growth, how about reading a great book? I mean, matter of fact, I'll encourage you to look at my show notes for some of my newest favorite books. Go to the show notes here in the episode. How about dialing up your prayer time? Praying more. Instead of 2 minutes a day or 5 minutes a day of praying, how about 30 minutes a day or even an hour? Try that. Try praying for an hour. And not just church, online church, but every single day. I had a crazy thought this morning of, heck, I may even hold daily prayer sessions for anyone who wants to join me, regardless of your faith, your denomination. Just join in prayer right now. The country needs it. We need it. Pray more. Pray more. And again, many of us do pray, but really, really immersing in prayer and asking God for wisdom and divine intervention and safety and health and all of this time. How about journaling? I talk about journaling a lot, but maybe now is the time that you're going to really start to open a notebook and write down your thoughts. And maybe your thoughts turn into a memoir. Maybe it turns into a book. But the bottom line is to put pen to paper and to write out your thoughts helps ease any anxiety or ease any stress that you may be facing. So the power of journaling is cathartic to release any stress that you may be feeling. Another thing is working on a project or creating a side hustle. Maybe you've never had time or you haven't had a lot of time to do that. Well, now is a great time to work on a side hustle. Maybe you want to do something online. Maybe you want to learn a new skill and you can learn about that online now, whether it's YouTube or you're enroll in a course that's online. Now is a great time to do that. How about talking to your family even more and setting some guidelines and rules for social media and time on the phone, that you can only be on the phone for so long? one of the things that I'm going to do now that the kids are out of school until early April is we're going to have workouts with the family every day at the house or at Fitness Quest 10. Again, if Fitness Quest 10 has to close because local officials tell us we need to close, then we'll work out at the house. Kids need to work out. Adults need to work out. This is not optional. We must make sure that we are training. We have to make sure we're doing that. So figure out a rule, right? So this is important. So it's like mandatory conditioning every day. In the evening, how about taking a bath and putting on some good music and filling up the bath with lavender, or putting on a favorite podcast? How about listening to podcasts? Lots of them, not just this one, obviously, but there's lots of great podcasts out there. Find something positive. Maybe it's informative, instructional, or inspirational. And lastly, again, let me just emphasize the importance of connecting with friends and family during this challenging time. It's always interesting to me how through tragedy, natural disasters, setbacks, how human beings, despite sometimes being frantic and frenetic, always come out with such love, and there's lots of great stories that will arise from this. Connect with your family and friends right now. Here's what you shouldn't do. Don't, if you're at home, just scroll on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok all day. There's nothing worse than having the news on and just scrolling all day. That is a surefire, guaranteed way to make you paralyzed, literally paralyzed of everything that you want and need right now in this very mercurial time. And also, like social media, what I'm doing is set some rules. Perhaps it's 2 times a day, 30 minutes a day, you're going to go on your social media. And instead of just random scrolling throughout the day, you set your guidelines, or maybe it's 3 times. I'll probably do 3 times if you're a social media junkie like myself. But you no more than 3 times a day, 30-minute max. But chunk your times, right? Number 4 of 5, your self-care must go up, way up. Let me repeat that. Your self-care must go up, way up. Now, again, that's the opposite of what most people are probably doing right now. What does that mean? I believe self-care, we must have impeccable focus right now and impeccable discipline on our health, on our fitness, on our nutrition, on our supplementation, and on our sleep. Now more than ever, you have to make working out mandatory. Right? It doesn't always have to be an hour. It could be 20 minutes. It could be a 20-minute body routine, literally of body weight squats, push-ups, and planks. It could be 20 minutes of yoga, or even a 20-minute meditation and breath work, right? And this is where you can be different also. Like when I talk about being different, how about you join me in setting some really crazy goals right now? The exact opposite of most of America. You talk about get your mind right, America. How about setting a goal of, instead of going from a 30-second plank, go to a 3-minute plank in the next 30 days, or even a 5-minute plank. I think the world record is about an 8-hour plank. So do a test of how long you can do a plank for, and what can you do over the next 30 days to improve that. Or maybe you have some equipment at home. How about you set a goal to do a 30-minute exercise daily for the next 90 days with no days off, right? Could you do something like that? Every single day, 30 minutes of exercise for 90 days. Or perhaps it's 50 push-ups in a row without stopping. It's going to take work. It's going to take daily work. But right now, if you're out of work or out of school, or your hours have been curtailed, there's nothing better than putting your time into physical conditioning, spiritual nourishment, and getting your mind right. Or how about we think outside the box, like a 30-30-30? like a 30 minutes of strength training, 30 minutes of aerobic work, 30-minute stretch or meditation for 30 days. Oh, I like that. 30, 30, 30, 30. So for 30 days, 30 minutes of strength training, 30 minutes of cardio, whether that be, if you have a machine at the gym or a machine at your house, or you're jumping rope or you're going for a walk, and then 30-minute stretch or meditation or prayer time right after that. Could you imagine how great you would feel if you did 30 minutes of strength training, 30 minutes of cardio, and then 30 minutes of stretch and meditation every day for 30 days? And you only watch the news for 30 minutes? Ooh, I just added a 30. The 30-day challenge. There you go. See that? The ideas and lessons you get from an airplane. I like that one. So the bottom line is, be different right now. Don't be like everyone else. Think to yourself, how can I get ahead? What can I do to be different? How can I chunk my time to get serious work done on projects that I've been saying I've been wanting to do for so long? And again, how can you look back in a year from now and say, the best thing that ever happened to me was the coronavirus? You may laugh when I say that, but wouldn't it be interesting if you had just an insane amount of focus on your own personal self-care over the next 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days to take action on what you most want to take action on? This very, very peculiar time in our country's history could also be an opportunity for you to do things that you've always said that you wanted to do. So maybe this is the time you're going to start your book or change your health habits. Maybe it's an automatic reset that you're going to do. And maybe your health changes and your mindset then shifts and your vision and your purpose becomes even more crystal clear. Maybe it took a serious situation like this to catapult you into doing something big, like really big. Like I bet you that, and there always are, that there's going to be some amazing stories that come out of this. Books written, companies formed, philanthropies and 501c3s started, all because of this. All because of this, of what we're watching on TV and the news of how our country's being pulverized and paralyzed. How can you flip the script? How can you flip the switch? You got to be open to this. You must see this as an opportunity for change. Interesting enough, I've always loved that one quote. The optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. The pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. I know on the surface right now it's very hard to be an optimist, but there are opportunities for you, regardless of how hard it gets, which brings me to my last point. Number 5, get your mind right. Now is not the time to live in fear. One epidemic or a pandemic at this point is bad enough. We don't need a second one, the fear epidemic. Let's be smart and do the right things for epidemic number 1. But for that second one, we got to stay focused on coming from a place of love. We're not going to be defeated by the coronavirus, but the fear opponent, that's a formidable one because it lives in your head all the time, and you can't allow it to have a home in your dome. Don't allow it, fear, to have a home in your dome. Protect your mind at all costs. So how do you do that? How do you beat fear? Well, the opposite. With extreme love, with extraordinary gratitude, with heart-centered humility and grace, and with faith. Faith trumps fear every time. Faith. Faith. Believing even when you cannot see. My prayer tonight on this Alaska Airlines flight is that you, number Number one, be smart. You follow the orders from the government and the local authorities. And you don't watch the news after 8 o'clock. That's number two. Don't consume the news more than an hour a day. Number three, dial in your habits for physical, psychological, mental, and spiritual growth. Again, check the show notes here in the description so that you can learn some resources that I'll provide for you on different ways that you can amp up your own peak productivity or personal growth habits as well right now. Number four, remember, self-care must go way up right now. And number five is get your mind right. Go out there and let your light shine. Folks, thanks for listening in today from the airplane. Please share your thoughts, as always, with me over on social media, and be sure to tag me. I want to know the answer to the $1 million question. I want to know your answer. What's your answer to that? When you look back in 1 year from now, and let's say that this too soon shall pass, because it always does. This too soon shall pass. How can you look back in a year and say that the coronavirus perhaps was the best thing that ever could have happened to me? I know that seems ludicrous. I know it seems crazy. But every once crazy idea was laughed at. What is it going to be for you? I want to do even more during this time for you. I want to help you more. I believe that the best leaders rise up in tough times. And this is a tough time. Join me. Join me in this fight. Not only the fight of the CV, but an attack in this thing called fear. We have to attack it with full force every single day, every single hour, and every single minute. I believe that if we do that, we're going to win the battle. I love you guys. Go out there and create an epic day. And whether you're in the house, your home gym, the regular gym, Fitness Quest 10, or you're on a plane, or you're back to work, or you're out for a walk, remember to smile today. Smile 10 times. Smile at your family, your friends, at a stranger that you pass on the streets. It's so good for your body, your mind, and your soul. Let your spirit shine. And remember, we got this. I love you guys. Go out there and have an incredible day. And don't forget, always create impact and get your mind right. Peace. Hey folks, I have a little bonus prayer for you all. After I got done recording, I was told by my inner voice, aka God, to say an extra prayer for any of you who are needing it tonight, who are in fear, whether it's early in the morning as you listen to this or in the evening before you go to sleep, just for the comfort and knowingness that all is going to be okay. So join me in this prayer, please. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for all of our gifts. And in this very tumultuous time in our country and our world's history, that you be with us, that you comfort us, that you fill our heart and our mind and our soul with love. While many times it's easy to resort to fear of what we listen to, we also realize that the devil, evil forces, can fill our minds with all of the tragic things that are happening in today's day. I ask, dear God, that anyone listening right now is filled with hope, filled with love, filled with joy, and looks at this time as an opportunity to connect with you through prayer, even greater, that they reach out to someone of like faith that they can lean on, that can ask questions to, they can deepen their faith. Because at the end of the day, we know that's what's most important, is our faith. Thank you so much for all of our blessings, that we live in gratitude for all that we do have, and that we can keep our attention on the gifts, regardless of the outside world that sometimes is collapsing all around us. That we can focus on our physical health, our homes and our family and our friends, our ability to think, ability to see and to smell and hear and to speak. Dear God, I just thank you for this vehicle right now as I'm speaking through a phone, recording a message called a podcast, so that hopefully someone right now, working out or driving or sitting and listening around the kitchen table, that this can impact them. I thank you for that gift. It's in your holy and precious name that we pray. Amen.